Hello, welcome to Fun and Affordable Magic the Gathering. This video is on Explorers of Ixalan. I got home today and I had my box there waiting for me, and I knew it was Explorers of Ixalan, and I was legitimately excited to open it up. Actually, somebody along the way missed up though, because a friend of mine in our play group got his box of Explorers of Ixalan like 2 weeks ago. So we've been playing with it and having a good time. It's everything that we expected. So I don't want to go too much into the contents of Explorers of Ixalan. You can head on over to Tulare Community College. I'll leave a link in the description and check out the professor's review of the product. And it's a great video. It'll break the whole thing down for you over there. And then in this video though, I want to kind of talk about how, if you already maybe purchased Explorers of Ixalan before watching the professor's video, or if you want to purchase it still but you're trying to figure out how can you make it worthwhile, because the MSRP is $64.99 and it's not really worth $64.99. Now the price is subjective, but I got mine for $50 and I definitely think it's worth $50. So this video is going to kind of break down how to get the most value you can out of your Explorers of Ixalan. So we'll take a look at the deck list here. The Vampires deck comes with these 60 cards right here. Now, there's not really a need for sideboard because of the format that this is intended to be played. But this deck list is kind of wonky. So what I did here is I pulled out trade values for this deck and broke them down into what kind of value you get. Now, you have three $2 cards, a $4 card, and a $6 card at the time of making this video that I just looked up on TCG Player. So that gives you about $16 worth of value. Now, you're not going to ever be able to get $16 out of here. It's just not worth it to go on eBay or do whatever you got to do. And the same goes with all these deck lists. But if you put these in your trade binders, you should be able to trade in this value. So what I did was I came up with a black-white Vampires improvement list. And this is the list that I would play. And I would just leave this list straight in the set, because all four decks that I've created here gel the best when they're played against each other. Kind of like this subset is supposed to do, is work well together. So the one card that I wanted to explain was Walk the Plank. I believe it shows up. I decided to put it in one more of the deck list as well, and maybe I didn't. We'll see. But the Walk the Plank, even though it's in the Vampires list, is not going to work well against the Merfolk list, obviously. But it will work against the Dinos list, and it will work against the Pirates list, because all four of these decks are tribal synergies. So it will have targets, so don't kill me on, wow, what is that in there for, But the greatest part about this list too is that Tainted Field, I don't believe that that's a standard legal card, but if you just swap that out with 4 plains, then, or maybe 2 plains and 2 swamps, this entire deck list you can play at FNM as well. So moving on here, you can see that on TCG Player the improvement cost for this is going to be $15, which is right about what you have offered in the trade value from the high value rares that come with this deck. Moving on to Pirates, same thing with this deck list here. I'll give you a second to look it over, but just kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So I went ahead and pulled out here. We have Shared Animosity and Adaptive Automaton. At the time of making this video, TCG Players $12 and $8 respectively. And this is the Pirates list that I made for an upgrade. It looks like we did get Walk the Plane in there. Very well balanced. This simple base. This is a basic setup for new players that I like to use, with 24 creatures and 12 spells and 24 lands. It's just a kind of a generic breakdown, but these cards are fun and they would be effective against the other decks. And then also too, the same thing here, if you dump out those crumbling necropolises, you can get 4 different lands in there and play this at F&M as well. And the improvement cost on this deck is the same here, the same total that you would get in those trade value cards. Next up is the Merfolk list now. So the Merfolk list, it's just seems so flavorful, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like I don't think about these cards when I think about Merfolk, especially on the instant artifact and enchantment side. So the cards in Merfolk were Time Warp and Threads of Disloyalty, coming in only at $15 and maybe a little less than that. But the greatest part is this improvements list. This is the list I would play. It gives you like a really solid game plan. Just creatures, counters, tempo, get in there. And the mana base is perfect. And also this list is F&M legal as well. And the greatest part is $5.50 to get these upgrades. So Dinos, the most bad boy dangerous list of Ixalan Limited. Again, not a bunch of one-ofs here, doesn't add up. But we see that we have Aggravated Assault, Path, and Quicksilver, giving us total trade value of $19. And the Dinos list I would play is a same 24-12, 24 breakdown. We have 8 removal spells that cost 1 or 2 mana. That Savage Stomp is always going to cost the one green, I believe, and commune with Dinosaurs just to make sure we hit the land, or we put a Reggie or one of the charging dinosaurs in our hand to close it out. And then some tempo play with Territorial, and then some Sky Terrors, and Drover to ramp, but also because it's a 3/3 later on. So this deck is pretty powerful, but you definitely want to be doing the Boros thing and getting in there and Naya-ing it out. The improvements for this deck, $8. Can you believe that? $8. Get yourself some improvements on. All right. So the last couple things I wanted to talk about with the Explorers of Ixalan for how to get your money's worth out of it is to look at the other options of Explorers of Ixalan. So if you look at this product as a product that's focused on alternate play, I think the thing that we've been running into with playing this is that the focus is so on what we normally do in Magic, with just trying to make the most efficient attacks and the most efficient defense and play our spells and everything, that sometimes it felt like we weren't even paying attention to the tiles. And you just if you try to remind yourself that you're not just playing a Magic game, but you're playing this side game, it could be a little bit more fun. So one of the things that you could do is draft. And when we all like drafting, and we all like playing sealed, we like playing limited environments, is the next time that you draft, instead of sleeving up the commons and uncommons and making it all spiffy and protecting your cards as well, just try drafting or making a sealed pod next time, and instead of just tearing it apart and throwing the draft shaft aside, just keeping that. And then the next time you go into an Explorers to sit down and play in a group, all of you pull out your draft or your sealed decks. And then you could even start a league where it's just an Explorers league, where you have your draft from this week, and then next week you take one pack and you add it in there. And then also, to even extend it further, you can stack the tiles. So the set comes with 50 tiles, and you're going to have some leftover every time. So, try putting 2 1 tiles on top of each other. So you have to pick 2 1s before you can get to the 3s. Try putting a 3 on top of the 6 so that you could pay 9 mana to get to that centerpiece and have both effects. And then also maybe switch it up where you race to the most tiles. So if somebody wins the game, or somebody takes another player out, that player's out. But if they end the game with 10 tiles and everyone's dead and it's left with one person, but the highest tiles is 10, even though that guy got taken out first, he's still declared the winner because that's the primary goal of the game. And lastly, take the game beyond the box. So instead of just these limited decks, and instead of the draft leagues or playing limited, take this game into your commander games. Take this game into 1v1 tiny leaders. I mean, it's probably the deadest format on the market, but tiny leaders is doesn't have to be legacy light. You could play it fun, and you could add this in to even get more with it. Another thing you could do is two-headed giant, and um, add explorers into two-headed giant and all the variants that I was just talking about. And lastly, start with tiles. So shuffle up the tiles and give an even distribution of 1, 3, and 6s to each player, and have it where those can be in a stack, and each turn they just get to flip them over for free. And then that way you don't have to consider the cost of the tile into your turn. And sometimes that was throwing us off, is having to pay for a tile or play a card. Well, like if you can just flip one a turn, it'll give you that incremental advantage, and it'll be even across the board. So, well, that's about all I got for how to get the most out of your Explorers of Ixalan, and I hope that this video helps you make it worthwhile. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.